What up YouTube? This is Red Pill Rex. Today I'll be showing you guys this Conservative MP in the UK, Mr. Philip Davies. He hasn't gotten a lot of attention in the past, so let's hope that this video will change that.
Right, Philip. An application about International Men's Day.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Chairman. My pitch is a fairly straightforward one, in the sense that every year since I can remember, certainly since I've been a member of this House, which is 10 years now, we've had an annual debate, and in the last few years this committee has granted one. In fact, I think I was on the committee when it did grant the debate for International Women's Day. And that's been held every single year. And so I thought that in the spirit of gender equality, it would only be right to have a debate to commemorate International Men's Day, which conveniently falls on Thursday the 19th of November, which is a date when you may or may not have some time to allocate, so it will be very fitting. Because, of course, not only do we have International Women's Day, we also have women and equality questions every month in the Chamber, which we don't have for men. So the opportunity for men to raise issues that are important to them is very limited. And just to give you a flavour, Mr. Chairman, of the type of things that may come up and which will be part of International Men's Day, I'm not entirely sure why it's so humorous, but to discuss issues such as men's shorter life expectancy, wider male health issues, many of which go unreported through embarrassment of men to sort of go along and talk about these things. The high suicide rate.
Excuse me for laughing, that the idea that men don't have the opportunity to ask questions in this place is a frankly laughable thing, as I say, as the only woman on this committee.
Man, this woman is so selfish, laughing at issues that affect men. You don't see the committee full of men laughing when a person raises up an issue that affects women, do you?
It seems like every day to me is.
Well, I wasn't making, with respect, I wasn't making that point. I wasn't making the point that men don't have an opportunity to ask. I was about men's issues. There's a very big difference between men raising issues and the raising of men's issues.
But one could raise men's issues in any single one of the question sessions. So your men's health, absolutely. So prostate cancer, that could be raised in men's questions, couldn't it?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I very much look forward to these arguments being deployed when we come to consider a debate on International Women's Day, because exactly the same arguments could be raised for International Women's Day, that women's health issues, that equality issues could be raised in women and equality questions in other forms. So all I ask is for an equal crack of the whip, that if those issues can be raised without having a debate on International Men's Day, then obviously the same issues can apply for when it comes to International Women's Day, but those arguments have never won the day before this committee.
I just think that it's worth pointing out the idea that this chamber, that these houses, both of them, in any way reflect gender equality is to me a frankly laughable thing. And so in the fight for equality, I'm not sure the men on this list necessarily have that much.
Mr. Philip Davies is an honourable man. He is currently fighting for the gender equality in the UK. Watch this next clip as he tries to join the Women and Equality Committee in the Parliament.
Philip Davies, if you think the committee's depressing, why are you joining it?
Well, the committee's there whether I like it or not, so if I can bring some common sense to the committee, that's surely a good thing, just in the same way that UKIP used to take their seats in the EU Parliament, not because they were fans of the EU Parliament or everything that it represented, but because they hoped to hold it to account. And I'd prefer it if it was just called the Equalities Committee. I don't see why it needs to be called the Women and Equalities Committee. You can still look at women's issues on a committee that's just called equalities, but it seems to indicate that there are no issues for men, and clearly there are issues where men suffer, so I don't really see why it can't just be called the Equalities Committee.
Right, well, what do you think about that, Caroline?
Well, I hope that the time that he spends on the committee will be an opportunity for him to understand a bit more about entrenched sexism in our society. So this is an MP who has been saying, as you said, that this committee shouldn't even exist, that it was disappointing that it was going ahead, and yet he's now hoping to take his position on it. And I just think that we need MPs on that committee who recognise, for example, the level of the gender pay gap, who recognise the disproportionate violence against women, who recognise that there's still a very long way to go in business, in politics, in just about every sphere of life, where women are discriminated against and where we need to have concerted effort to support women.
Right.
I'm certainly not against having actions to support men, and Philip does a good job doing that, but let him do that in his work there and let the Women's and Equalities Party carry on, rather than having him, a person who says that he's taking his lead from UKIP in the European Parliament. As we know, they're trying to bring down the presence of the European Parliament. That's not a very good precedent for the Women and Equalities Party.
Do you understand the issues of entrenched sexism, Philip Davies, as Caroline Lucas has just outlined, the gender pay gap, violence against women? Do you understand those issues?
Yes, absolutely. There are massive issues that affect women. There is a gender pay gap. There's also a part-time gender pay gap where women are paid more than men.
Gotcha, bitch!
Caroline, it seems, is that I want this committee to be called the Equalities Committee, and it seems that she just wants it to be called the Women's Committee. I actually believe in genuine equality between the genders, between races, between sexes.
You've got a very, very
all
funny
of those
way
things.
of showing it, Philip, and I think what he should be doing right now, December the 14th, is to give us all a Christmas present by saying this was all a bit of a joke and he's not going to be on that committee, because everything he's just been saying does not convince me this is going to be a constructive presence on the committee. There's serious work to be done, work that's been doing around women and disabilities, for example, issues around the gender pay gap, which is still glaring when it comes to women in politics. These are issues that need concerted action now, and I'm not sure Philip's the man to help us.
Is it a joke, your application, Philip?
No, not at all, and it's very sad. I would have thought Caroline would be the one person who would actually want to protect people with minority opinions in Parliament.
The day that you were a minority, Philip, I'll come and a white Anglo-Saxon man, I don't think so.
It seems to me that Caroline wants people on the committee only if they agree with her. Well, surely the whole point of a select committee is you have people on there with a range of opinions. Otherwise, what on earth is the point of an all-party select committee of people who can only go on there if they all agree with Caroline?
It sounds like you are going to get on there because you're standing unopposed. But of course, Parliament, any member of Parliament, Caroline Lucas, can block the appointment or election to this committee. Will you try and block it?
I will talk to others and see what strategies they're pursuing. In fact, I think we need to have a proper hearing with Philip and really just check out that he doesn't think that people who are standing up for things like equal pay or standing up for women in the justice system are feminist zealots. As long as he can assure us of that, maybe he should have a role and he could learn something by being on the committee.
All right, well, I'm sure you're going to get on really well on this committee anyway, but thanks very much.
So, David Isaac, I'm the chair of the EHRC.
I'm Rebecca Hilson-Rath and I'm the Chief Executive of the EHRC. Wonderful.
I think I'm obliged to declare that I'm the unpaid parliamentary spokesman for the campaign against political correctness. In the strategic aims that Jess was talking about and the priority areas, one of them is employment, which includes in it treatment at work, including pay gaps. So could you tell me what the gender, disability and race pay gaps are in your organisation?
Not off the top of my head.
You'd think that you would at least know what yours was off the top. I mean, you'd think that this was such a priority. The first thing you'd be doing is keeping a track on exactly what's happening in your own organisation, rather than having a sort of a...
One of the reasons that we're not...
you should know these figures for your own organisation off by heart, surely, if it's that important.
We know, so let me answer the question. I think we know that we have perhaps a small pay gap, and I think we'd be unique if there wasn't a pay gap, but I would hope that we could eliminate it as much as possible.
Well, let me help you out.
Okay.
I mean, I've got the last figures for which I have, which are for March 2015. So I appreciate that we're a bit out of date with the last figures that seem to be available that I've got. But you had a gender pay gap of 1.2% for full-time workers and 6.8% for part-time workers. You had a 13.3% pay gap for disabled people, so you were paying non-disabled people more than you were paying disabled staff. And you had an 8.8% pay gap on race. So my point is, if an organisation like yours, which has got as its top priority to stamp out these pay gaps, if your organisation can't eliminate these pay gaps, how on earth can we expect every other organisation in the country and every other employer in the country to have eliminated these pay gaps?
I hope that you have enjoyed the video. I'll be posting more of this Red Pill content, so please like, subscribe and comment. And thank you for watching.